Hey guys, back with a new video for Path of Exile 3.22. So this is a continuation of our Delve Diary, and we are currently at 5,300 depth. Alright, so got a lot to talk about in this episode, some things I'm very excited about to share with you guys, and we are going to do run a few nodes. And I did say last episode we'll do some bossing, and the only one I actually did find is this Lich. So, well, you know, not really the most interesting boss, but we'll just go and run him anyways. And we'll do the nodes leading up to the boss so you can kind of see the, you know, how the gameplay looks like. Alright, so first of all, some very exciting changes that I made to the build. So basically, if you've been watching some of the other episodes, you might know that every single episode I basically am complaining about this, what do you call it, cold degen, the frozen ground thing, right? It's been a real, like, you know, pain in the ass, basically, because it can, you know, any mob can basically, that has the buff for the frozen ground on death will make this frozen ground, and it just makes, you know, these tighter arenas very annoying, and was the cause of a lot of my deaths leading up to now. But now with this new tech I'm using, I don't know if you can really call it tech because it's just really so simple and not really, you know, something amazing, but I mean it is amazing. But anyways, so let's get into it. So what we've done is basically we have removed frozen ground from Delve completely. Like, it basically can never ever spawn. And the way we're doing that is, so we have this axe mastery over here. Enemies killed by your hits are destroyed. So what does this do? Basically, so this basically removes the corpse from the enemy you kill with hits. So all of my damage is hits, basically. So there is going to be 0 corpses. So that means I guess stuff like Detonate Dead 2, that's, you know, if you get a DD Strongbox, it's not going to do anything because there's no corpses. So also when you remove the corpse, you also remove a lot of on-death effects. So the a lot of these volatiles, porcupines, they can't shoot out their little spikes. And also frozen ground. Frozen ground will never appear because there's no corpse to actually make the frozen ground. Or I'm not really sure how it works, but basically with this mastery, or I guess any kind of corpse removal, is going to ensure that this frozen ground never spawns, basically, right? So it did come at a very high cost. You can see there it is costing 5 points on the talent tree. That is a very big investment. I did drop quite a lot of defense and damage to actually get that, but I do think it was worth it at the end. Before, I'd be running a node, and you know, I'd be like dodging here and there, trying to run away from the degen puddles and all that kind of stuff. But now you can just kind of AFK in the middle, and it's a lot more comfortable to play. So if you're in Delve, definitely recommend you get some kind of corpse removal going into your build. It's going to make your life quite a lot easier. So it did drop the shade. Don't really need that anymore. Had to drop a lot of max cold res to actually get these points. Aside from that, I did put a few of these. You take 10% reduced extra damage from critical strikes on my tattoos, because I don't have it anywhere else. And it is getting a little bit rippy in the crit areas. Okay, so aside from that, let's go run some of the nodes. Alright, so let's see. We are going to have to go up here. So this is actually not really all that bad. And actually, you know, the difficulty hasn't really changed that much. So it hasn't really changed that much since I last think, like maybe about 3,800 or yeah, maybe 4K-ish. Difficulty still seems to be sort of the same. I'm not really noticing things being well, things being all that different. Stuff like that still does happen, right? So when you end up at the node, you do want to make sure you have your flask going, and a lot of other things can get a little bit annoying. So let's not make the same mistake again. Let's kind of come here and kill everything. So you can see frozen ground is just never spawning. Burning ground does spawn, I guess as like an area mod, right? But for the most part, we can pretty much just kind of like AFK and then just kill the whole area. Don't really have to even move for much, right? Just kind of stand still and kill this guy. What does this guy have? Reflects certain ailments. I don't know why this guy is so tanky. Alright. Alright, so, let's just keep going. And I'm really bad at navigating this part. But, it's very close, so... Okay, so this one is like a free node, basically. One of the easier nodes to actually do. I think the hardest ones so far are going to be the Harbingers. Harbinger nodes, they just last forever, basically, and they spawn tons of rares, right? And then a lot of times they spawn in the mana siphoners, right? So mana siphoners are back to haunt me in Delve because at this depth, I don't know what it's doing, but the damage of the actual, like, oh look, we have one here. Kind of hard to see, but the damage of the ring is like it's scaling with something, right? So at this depth, it basically one-shots you. So it's, you know, I thought that we were basically done with the mana siphoners because we're not using Doriani's prototype, but you know, they're back to haunt me at this level of depth, and it can be pretty annoying, especially when you're like they're on the path, right? That you're like trying to run up to a node, and then you just run into one of them, and then you're just dead. So yeah, can be a little bit of a problem. This Lich guy can be a bit of a problem too, but I don't think he's that difficult. Alright, let's see. We need to get one more ball charge. Do we even need it? It would be nice to have it. But yeah, never mind. Alright, we're just going to have to do it with one charge. And we'll try not to use dynamite so you can kind of see, you know, the damage. Okay, so this move is the one that's very annoying. I guess we can actually tank it. Never mind. Alright, so darkness, and I do have flares this time. I was trying to do a boss the other day. Just kept dying in the darkness phase, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized I didn't have any flares, so I'll definitely do it. Usually I do change up my my bossing setup for I'm putting in like the Ancestral Protector and a lot of other things, but I think for this kind of boss he is pretty easy. So you don't really have to do that much. I think he does have one move that can one-shot me. I'm not sure if I don't have Molten Shell, but and yeah, actually getting the corpse removal has made everything a lot easier, especially in these boss mechanics in the darkness phase, because you don't have to like run around like a madman. Whoa, what is going on? Holy shit. Okay, that almost killed me. Okay, now it's the last phase. So here, it's pretty easy actually. We just kind of sit here, tank everything. Okay, that actually did do quite a bit of damage. Just kill him before he does it again. Alright, so we got a loot. Alright, boss. Pretty easy. Now let's try to go down a little bit. So we'll do a tier 3 Azurite node because that's like a pretty common node, right? So you can see, I'll go over my stats in POB so you can kind of see what kind of damage and defense we're working with at this depth. But things have, I have dropped, I have dropped quite a lot of damage and defense in order to actually fit in the crit damage reduction and then the corpse removal thing. But in the end of the day, I think it is worth it because you can see in some of these nodes where, holy shit, that was a mana siphon. Okay, so you can see there my health just like basically dropped to 0. So they're pretty much doing the same amount of damage. Okay, I gotta kill some guys here, get some flash charges. They're doing the same amount of damage to me as, you know, as if I was wearing like a Doriani's prototype. So pretty crazy. Definitely think mana siphoners should be like removed from the game, which is so dumb. Okay, so we're at the node. We can pretty much just stand in the middle, use our Grace Aura. That would help, I guess. Then we just lightning strike. We'll do some smites every now and then. Every 10 seconds we do have to use Despair. We can get our Wither stacks, and we'll just use Ball Lightning Strike. And you see, there is no frozen ground. Like, there's no frozen ground at all. So, very comfortable. Just kind of stand in the middle, do your thing, and pick up your loot. Alright, so another thing I'm actually doing too is, I guess we'll go over the gear changes after we run this tier 3 node. Because I did make a few gear changes that were pretty nice, actually. So I did get frenzies in the build with, what's that called again? Cold Snap, yeah. So this is a tier 3 node, so it's going to be quite a lot more mods. But it should not be a problem at all. And if things start getting too crazy, you just use the wall lightning strike, and that pretty much just deletes everything, gives us a whole bunch more extra, what do you call it, ES on hit, so, man, playing without having to worry about frozen ground is so nice. Okay, something is actually doing quite a lot. Oh, it's a mana siphoner, oh my god. So, you can see there, mana siphoner, I couldn't even see the ring, but it just like killed me in one shot. So that kind of stuff does happen. Probably is now my, what do you call it? The way I die the most now is now mana siphoners. I thought I was done with those guys, but they're back. Alright, I do have to kind of focus because there is sort of like a, how would you say it? What are those things called again? You know, like when you play WoW, you have your, like quarter that you do your skills in, like a rotation. Yeah, that's what it is, a rotation. So there is sort of a rotation in this build that I do. You know, I don't know. I'm not that annoyed at pressing a lot of buttons because I guess I've played a lot of WoW, and when you play WoW you have like what, 20-30 keybinds, so having like only 4 or 5 is like a walk in the park, right? Alright, so we got the last boss, so we'll just kill him off with the ball lightning strike, and yeah, pretty easy. Pretty easy stuff. Alright, so I think we can go over some of these gear changes now. Let's see. So, what did I do? I got a shield with a Grant 27 level 23 discipline skill, so that gave me 1 extra socket. So now I have a Cold Snap and Molten Shell on a casting damage taken. So, Cold Snap, basically if you kill something in the frozen ground area, then you get Frenzy Charge. You can see I'm pretty much always at max Frenzy Charges in any of these kind of nodes. So it is very nice for giving him some extra damage. But let's go over the POB real quick so you can see the actual numbers. And okay, so this is the POB. We have to check on frenzy charges because now we are using frenzy charges. And there's one thing to note here with the you can apply additional curse. So because we're using original sin, right, and despair, POB is going to calculate despair being active instead of sniper's mark, right? So in order to actually count sniper's mark, because we're not actually cursing the enemy with despair, right? So we're cursing despair, and then our mark on hit kicks in, and then they get affected by the sniper's mark. So kind of something you have to do in POB to make your thing work. So you can see about 126 hit DPS on the lightning strike projectiles, and a full DPS of about 600 million. So have dropped about 2 cold res or max res, so we're at 77 all res. Did drop quite a bit of armor, some ES. We did lose a little bit of EHP, so our EHP is about 570k to physical, and about 400 to 480 on the elemental, and this is with Molten Shell up. So let's take a look without Molten Shell. Without Molten Shell, we are about 200k across the board. Still pretty good. Right, so this is kind of the damage stats, damage and defensive stats that I'm using at 5,300 depth, and this is definitely going to be enough to do 6,000 depth, so we'll probably end up going to about 6,000, 6,500 or so, and we'll call it a day after that. But this is the kind of stats you need to actually, you know, go and do that. Okay, well, not really much else to say, guys, but I think what we're going to be doing after that is just keep delving, keep pushing the depth, and we'll make another video at 6,000-ish, maybe, or 6,500 or whatever. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been pretty fun going in delve for me and discovering, you know, different little things on my tree. I'm changing around like points and like my gear. Every day I do like test out a whole bunch of different changes. You see I've got like a whole bunch of these shields here and all this stuff here. It's pretty fun, right? So anyways, see you next time, and thanks for watching.